Vikings did not fear death. To die with a sword in your hand was the best thing that could happen to a Northman, a straight road to Valhalla. These people stormed fortresses laughing. But there was one enemy whose very mention made the bravest warriors bolt their doors 3 times and stay inside until sunrise. That enemy was their own dead. Because in Scandinavia, a dead man did not always stay in his grave. Sometimes he got up, and then the real nightmare began. Because killing something that is already dead is nearly impossible. Meet the Draugr, a creature next to which Hollywood zombies look like clumsy extras. This is the first episode of the Horrors of Scandinavia course. 10 creatures, 10 stories. Get comfortable. We begin with the one closest to home, your neighbor from the graveyard. A Draugr is not a ghost and not a spirit. It is the dead man himself, risen and walking in the flesh. The Scandinavians called such beings Haugbui, mound dweller, or Afturganga, again walker. The word Draugr itself is related to the concept of deception, a phantom, a thing that pretends to be alive while being nothing of the sort. Its appearance was unforgettable. The sagas describe 2 variants: Hell Blue, corpse black and blue like a hanged man, or Death Pale, the color of a body that has lain through the winter. The body was bloated, swollen, reeking of decay, and, a crucial detail, impossibly heavy. When the living in the sagas try to carry the body of a future Draugr, several strong men cannot lift it, as if death itself had filled it with lead. Its abilities read like a superhero's, in reverse. The Draugr possessed inhuman strength. It broke the backs of oxen and crushed men to death. It could grow at will, swelling to a giant's height. It passed through earth and stone as if through mist, which is why no locked burial chamber could hold it. And the Draugr drove people mad. Men and animals who met it went gray overnight, lost their minds, or died of sheer terror. Livestock on a farm haunted by a Draugr would be found in the morning with broken necks. And the motivation. Not every corpse became a Draugr, only those who in life had been malicious, greedy, or restless. Sorcerers, misers, men who died holding a grudge. Some Draugrs guarded the gold in their mounds and tore apart anyone who came for the treasure. Others, and this is worse, came home, to the living. Now for a story the Icelanders have been telling for 800 years, the saga of Grettir and its dark jewel, the tale of the shepherd Glam. On a farm in an Icelandic valley, something evil had settled. Shepherds did not live to see the spring. The farmer hired Glam, a huge, sullen Swedish laborer, gray as a wolf, with unsettling pale eyes. Glam believed in no evil spirits, never went to church, and told everyone exactly where to go. On Christmas Eve, he went out to the sheep in a snowstorm and did not come back. They found him days later, a body swollen and blue as hell, lying in the middle of a trampled clearing where some terrible struggle had clearly taken place. They could not give Glam a proper burial. The body was too heavy to move. They piled stones over him where he lay. They should have tried harder. Because Glam got up. The man who believed in no evil became evil itself, the worst of all. He came at night and rode the rooftops, making the beams crack. He broke the bones of cattle. People who saw his face in the window lost their minds. The farm emptied. The workers fled. The valley died. And then came Grettir, the strongest man in Iceland, a hero with a very bad temper. He waited for the Draugr inside the house, in the dark. The struggle that followed shook the building to its foundations. The Draugr dragged Grettir toward the door to haul him outside under the open sky, where a dead man's strength is greater. At the threshold, Grettir twisted, and both crashed down, the Draugr on his back, the hero on top. And here, the saga makes a stroke of genius. At that very moment, the moon broke through the clouds, and Glam looked Grettir in the eyes. The strongest man in Iceland froze in terror for the first time in his life, and in that instant, the dead man spoke his curse. From now on, everything Grettir attempted would turn to misfortune, and to the end of his days, he would be afraid of the dark. Then Grettir cut off the Draugr's head, placed it against the corpse's buttocks, remember that detail, and burned the body to ash. The curse came true. The greatest hero of Iceland could never again bear to be alone in the dark. Sagas were never in the business of happy endings. The Scandinavians took the Draugr threat with maximum seriousness, so seriously that they developed an entire funeral protocol, essentially a safety manual. Rule 1. The corpse door. If the deceased had been a difficult man in life and might come back, the body was not carried out through the door. A special opening was broken through the wall, the corpse was passed through it, and the hole was immediately bricked up. The logic was ironclad. A Draugr returns by the same path it left through. No path, no Draugr. Archaeologists still find these sealed openings in old Scandinavian houses today. Rule 2. Immobilize. The body might be bound, a stone laid on its chest, needles driven into the soles of its feet, or its big toes tied together, so the dead could not walk. Open scissors on the chest, straw laid crosswise, a coffin lifted and set down 3 times in different places on the way to the graveyard, to confuse the deceased should he decide to find his way home. Rule 3. If all else failed. The only reliable way to lay a Draugr to rest is described in the sagas many times, and always the same way. Cut off the head. Place it against the buttocks so the dead man cannot put himself back together. Burn the body to ash, and scatter the ash in the sea, far away from people. Only fire solved the problem permanently. A sword merely annoyed a Draugr. And now the moment that makes this whole story worth watching to the end. None of the above is just fireside horror tales. Archaeologists regularly uncover so-called deviant burials across Scandinavia and Iceland, graves where something was clearly done to the dead after death. Skeletons pinned down with large stones, one on the chest, one on the legs. Bodies buried face down. And the most telling of all, skeletons with the head cut off and placed between the legs. Exactly the way the sagas tell us Draugrs were laid to rest. People did not merely tell these stories, they lived inside them and took precautions right there in the cemetery, just in case. One more detail to complete the picture. The fear of the walking dead may be the oldest fear humanity has, but nowhere was it engineered as thoroughly as in the North, with a burial protocol, a decommissioning procedure, and detailed case studies in the literature. The Scandinavians approached the zombie apocalypse like engineers. The Draugr's trail runs straight into the present. Tolkien, a professor and connoisseur of the northern sagas, populated the Barrow Downs of Middle-earth with Barrow Wights, direct descendants of the Haugbúi. In games, from Skyrim, where Draugrs guard the tombs, to God of War, they crawl out of their graves under the very same name. The Hollywood zombie is slow and stupid. The northern original was stronger, angrier, and smarter than the living. And that, you must admit, is far more frightening. So ends the first chapter of our bestiary. The Draugr, The dead man who refused to lie down. An unliftable blue body, mound gold, rooftops cracking in the night, and a hero afraid of the dark for the rest of his life. But here is the thing. From a Draugr, you could at least hide, bolt the door, wait for sunrise, or at worst, move out of the cursed valley. The next creature in our course leaves you no such chance. It comes to the one place where a human being is completely defenseless, into your sleep. It sits down on the sleeper's chest, and the victim wakes unable to move, feeling an alien weight on their ribs. Science today calls this sleep paralysis, but the Scandinavians knew the name of the one who sits. And the chronicles preserve the story of a king whom this creature trampled to death in his sleep. The Mara, in Episode 2. Subscribe so you don't miss it. Hit like if you enjoyed this, and tell us in the comments, which creature of the Scandinavian bestiary frightens you the most? Perhaps that is exactly the one we'll examine more closely. See you in the next nightmare.